That's on you, man. All right, well, welcome back. Men's boot camp, summer boot camp. Looks like most of the people survived the first week. I'll have to see exactly if we're missing anyone. We'll give them a hard time if they're not here. So, reports. Your first report got turned in today. Let's see how you did. Who was someone that was here last week that attended class? How'd it go? Jace? Class last week.
Our class last week was just an introduction to what we're going to do and what's expected of us.
Yep. All right, there we go. Who did devotions this week? Anyone? Jacob, what's something you got from one of your devotions this week?
One of the devotions that I was doing was talking about manhood in the Bible in this class. So one of them was about being a leader and how the Bible talks about the characters of a leader.
What devotion was that you were reading?
It's called Man Up. It was on the YouVersion app.
Man Up on the YouVersion app. Very cool. Ray, I thought you raised your hand there.
I mainly got the one about exacerbating your children.
About exasperating your children.
Yes, and I was reflecting back on my kids and thinking, no, I never really did that on the thing, but just hope it's all working out. So,
Well, it's never too late. You can start over.
Quite a bit. But they don't seem frustrated. They're almost recluse in a lot of ways. I'm wanting to see that I chase them in there, but I don't think so.
Okay.
So reevaluating that. I mean, one's 22, I'm not sure if we're going to child. Insurance company says I'm keeping the house till 26. And of course, Josh is be 17 in a couple more weeks. So there we go. So just keep it, keep the fires going. Try to keep up the communication.
Okay.
This seems to be a thing for millennialists, kind of that age. They tend to go recluse. You know, even though I had a dispatcher who's 18, and they'd be active with my trucks. He was really a recluse. I mean, he really wouldn't, other than responding to driving, just not get out of his bubble. Get out. So, much different than, our age, I'm thinking. So.
Okay. Who else? One more person for a devotion.
I read the ones that my pastor did.
You read the ones that your pastor did. Suck up.
They were really
And
good.
what did you get from some
They
of
were
them?
really good. They were real
really
godly.
good. What specifically did you get from any of that?
Oh, I gotta tell you what I got out of it?
If you're going to do that.
Oh. I don't even remember now.
Yeah. That's not how it's supposed to be. I think it's a demerit, isn't it? Drop and give me 10.
No, they actually was really good. They were really good.
Okay, but I need to know specifically
I had to go get
something
my
you got from one
notes.
of
I had
them.
to go get my notes.
You don't count. It doesn't count. Everett, what do you got?
Why does the church need me?
Why does the church? You specifically?
Not me, no, the church, probably better off not me.
All right. Is this a
One of the
devotion?
devotions, Uncommon Man is the one I chose.
Uncommon Man from the YouVersion? Okay. And what did you get?
1 Corinthians 12:27. All of you together are Christ's body, and each one of you is a part in it. Your service is desperately needed. No, this is reform. Your service is desperately needed for the body of Christ.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
All right. There. That's just the least I've ever heard you talk in one sitting.
Well, I have plenty more to say.
What do you got, Eddie?
On devotions?
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing the daily devotion at church.
From the church?
Along with the service, which is really good. Today was reading about Revelations. I've been to a couple Revelations classes, and I still don't understand Revelations. But,
Well, the quick version is we can.
right, that's good.
That's all you need to know. Okay?
The other one that I read out of is the Daily Bread.
Okay.
And I also have Max Lucado, Grace for a Moment.
Okay.
But usually, I have some time at work when I'm breaking stuff, and if I'm not taking a nap or something,
At work. Not in church. Not at work. Smart.
or, if I pray sometimes, so what I do is, I pray, I get 5 times, And I read all your books until I find one that's going to help me that day. I suffer a little bit with anxiety, and especially, you know, the kind of work I do, you know, got so close, a lot of pressure, and a lot of times I don't want to be there, you know, and so I try to find comfort in, you know, the Bible or the daily words, devotional, you know. And one of the ones that really sticks out is one that I read last week, was actually on June 17th. God calls the big choice. And the big choice is, we have a choice. We have to serve somebody, right? We're going to serve Satan or God. It doesn't matter. One of them, you deny one, you automatically all the other. It says with the choices that we can control is getting up in the morning. We can't control the weather. We can't control if somebody hangs up on me. But I can control my attitude and just do the good stuff, and I can control the way I feel about God that day. That helped you. So that one stuck out.
All right. Cool. All right. Who served this week?
Yes.
Mike, what'd you do?
I helped somebody move this last week.
Yes!
Yes, yes.
In the name of Jesus?
In the name of Jesus.
Amen, brother. Extra credit there. I know who you helped move too. Anyone that served this week in a way that was not directly related to their pastor? Mike.
I helped my sister-in-law and brother-in-law kind of set up their new house. They just moved into another house.
Okay.
So I hung like 18 pictures, hung 2 TVs on the wall, just stuff like that. And then I had a 2-hour discussion on Catholicism versus Protestantism with Lucy and her sister.
Oh my. Very nice.
And he gets a point there.
You had a voice to share then. You've been doing all that stuff. And then that kind of, you know, it's more easily heard.
We've kind of had that discussion before, but
Yeah,
there's still a lot of questions.
sure. All right, giving. Did anyone give this week? I won't ask you. Here's the trouble about giving on the report is the Bible it's just kind of a given that you give your tithes. And even there was a special offering in the Old Testament. They were doing an offering for the temple with David. And it lists out how much David gave, how much the leaders gave, and how much the people gave. And so that's a part of just the giving overall. The part that we get stuck on in this country is where it says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And Jesus said that in the part about giving of alms. Giving of alms is when you see someone in need, you see someone and you say, you know what, just saw that you're dealing with this and just want to give you a little something. That's the part we're not supposed to really brag about. The other part that you're giving, yeah, that's just kind of expectation. So I'm not going to ask you to report on, did you give to anyone outside of the church? Because then you'd be breaking Jesus' commandment, and that's supposed to be secret stuff. If you gave to the church, that's just supposed to be happening. So, sharing my faith. Did anyone share their faith? Have any Yeah, right.
I had a new driver,
Okay.
so I had kind of a captive audience, but I normally don't bring up the church, you know, training my drivers, and decided to go off and expand that comfort zone. Started talking to this guy about it, and he was doing the release from prison. He's got a PO. I get several of my drivers from that direction. And so he's kind of an infant Christian, just kind of introduced when he did his jail time. And so, man, great conversation about it. And it ended up, I mean, I could transcend that right into the testimony part of it.
Sure.
You know, so, and we had a nice long lunch. Like I said, was giving too. I bought his lunch.
Oh,
So, you know, you just kind of get this really cool feeling when you're sharing your faith and you're seeing an acceptance in a face of somebody. And now he's going, where do you live again? You know, he's all the way in the Avenue side. He said, you know, you find a men's thing going on? And I said, well, you know, we used to go to First Christian and stuff like that. So I'll do some checking there.
Okay.
But, yeah, just got my toes first. So I'm just taking my training a little farther.
Hey, you're just responsible with whoever God puts in your path. You know, if they end up in Alaska, okay, that's fine. You know, Philip the Ethiopian was preaching to a guy who, the dude went back to Ethiopia. It was nowhere near Jerusalem. So,
I
that's
always thought I got this job that I have now because the guy who owns it, it's a kid that I've known since we were Cub Scouts.
okay.
But I won't call him an atheist, but you know, he considers God as the cosmic muffin. That's about as far as it goes. I always wondered if that's why God put me in his life again. You know, it's pretty good to see that, you know, that it's not a cosmic muffin, it's really real.
Okay, I need a definition on cosmic muffin.
Really?
Because I've been doing this for, I don't know, 25 years.
I never asked him his definition, I just.
Is it a chocolate chip?
I accepted it in Evan's
Something makes you
way.
smile, that's up in the air.
Just something really nice and fluffy.
Maybe it was blueberry, chocolate chip, perhaps.
It's like part of the Milky Way, you have it with milk.
There we go. All right.
But I'm sure that was his evasion answer, you know.
Sure.
Hey, I got some input.
Yeah.
You know what, it's really weird because I thought I was sharing my faith a lot, obviously I wasn't. Because the whole week almost went by and I hadn't shared my faith. Usually sometimes things will pop up where I share my faith, but it's not because I start, usually somebody says something to me first, right? Well, that didn't happen, and I'm looking at this list and I go, crap, I gotta go find somebody to share my faith with, and I don't feel like it. I mean, it was just something, because it's kind of intimidating a little bit, just to go, hey buddy, I want to share my faith with you. You know, it's like, what did I do, man? I didn't do nothing, man. So I'm like looking around, and at work, you know, we have a lot of, you know, we work with a lot of 12-step guys. And
Right.
some of the guys are seeking a higher power and seeking God in that. But I noticed that he had more than a carpenter. Somebody had given him.
Nice.
And I just went up to him and I said, hey man, where'd you get that book? And somebody gave it to me. I go, yeah, how long have you known God? And he goes, I don't really. I'm just, somebody told me that this is, because I got some questions about it. So I just said, hey, I'm a Christian and I go to this church. But isn't that sharing my faith, kind of?
Yeah.
All right, so we talked. So he turned out to be a really cool guy, and I learned a little bit about him. But you know, I didn't sit there give my testimony or anything, but I just kind of shared, you know, from that. But yeah, it's really weird because this is going to force us to do something like that, and but it's pretty cool. Once after you do it and you feel it, you go, yeah, I'm glad I did that, you know.
Yeah.
Because now God's going to say, well, I'm not going to put people in your path because Brian's running this class, and that would be cheating if I did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you sweat it out and look for it. So, I guess.
So you have to take the initiative. Is that the deal?
That's the thing.
Nice.
But, you know, I thought it was pretty cool. So.
Awesome. That's very cool.
And the other thing I was going to say, Everett helped you move, but you know what we also did last week? We sat down with Victor's sister. I thought that was
You know what?
Sherry.
You're right.
And
So
we
that's
sat
my
at that
extra
table
half
and
point
we're
that I get
outside,
from
and you know
the other
what?
part.
Because I was supposed to help him, I go, give me a job to do so I could do something. He goes, well, tear the things out and go pick up little cups. And I was going to do that, but I got sidetracked with Victor because we were praying over him and that right here.
That's right.
And then Everett, I asked Everett to come out with me because he was like, what's going on? I said, come on. So we talked, and then we ended up talking to sister. Nice people, right?
Yeah.
And we prayed and for him, and
We talked a lot about Jesus.
we
Now,
did.
Now,
That was good.
Now, thank you, because I went up to a
Wow.
perfect stranger that was having a operation. I said, I'm going to pray to you. And Brian reprimanded me and said, well, I'm only going to give you half one, because who are you praying to? I went,
Well, yeah, because she wanted to talk to the pastor, and you walked right by her, got in your car and left.
that's right.
That's
We
what
get an
started
extra
out to do
half,
that.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm sure you're for. My job's to make you do
Yeah, but
stuff.
I didn't know you were gonna walk by us like this.
It was his birthday.
I just walked in through the bathroom door and slid out the side. But my wife wouldn't let me do that.
It was his
No,
birthday.
it was all good though.
Actually, Eddie wasn't avoiding very good. He was avoiding you a lot.
Is that what you want?
All right, did anyone memorize any of the scriptures? Did anyone even get started memorizing any of the scriptures? You got started? How far did you get?
I mean, I've read them, I need to sit down and write them out, then when I remember more, when I write them out,
Okay.
then they seem to stick.
Did you start any of them?
Yeah,
Which one?
all three of them.
Okay. Well, give me something. Give me a word.
Hi.
Ah!
I said, they don't stick until I write it down.
I understand.
I'll get you started.
Oh, you're getting, hold on, you gotta start. What's that?
That's all, I get it started, the first one's finally.
Finally.
Ephesians. Don't make me pull my notes out.
Do you have something, Larry?
He brought a cheat sheet. He's writing them down.
I bring it out once in a while.
All right, pull it out. What's it say? Whatever that is.
Brian's the best pastor in the entire world.
That's my
It's the
line.
best pastor in the whole church. All right.
In the whole church.
I thought it said ever needed a raise.
Well, he's got the 2 Corinthians, he's got Ephesians, and he's got from 1 Timothy.
All right, read the 2 Corinthians. What's it say?
2 Corinthians. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of this world.
On the contrary.
Weapons were not spiritual weapons.
Oh, this is, this
He put some commentary in it.
Oh, that's
Weapons
what
we
it means.
fight with are not weapons of this world.
I
On the
wrote down
contrary,
what
they
it
have
means.
divine power to demolish arguments. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought, make it obedient to Christ. There you go.
That's what seminary school is for.
No.
No, we already knew that one, that's why I put it there.
Yeah,
All right.
he must have what he had
Keep
memorized.
working on them. Keep working on them. Testimonies. Anyone write or videotape your testimony? The story of how you came to faith.
I got a question about that.
Yes, sir.
I gave one a couple years ago, so I gotta give another one?
You gotta do it all the time.
Nobody told me that.
No, once you're good forever. All right. No. Yes. You have. No. This is. We just want to hear your story, and if you want to write it down, this is my life before Christ. This is why I became a Christian, and this is how my life is different. You can either write that down, or if you want to just set a video camera there and just say to the video camera, a minute. I'm looking for like a minute. You need to know your story. You need to know that. That's the purpose of this one.
So do you want us to tell them now?
No, I want you to write it down or videotape it.
We have to videotape it?
No, you can write it down.
What about if
Would you rather write it down? Would you rather type it up for me?
Will we put it on the screen? It up for you.
All right.
It ain't gonna be a minute on the screen.
It's gotta be 12 pages.
What?
Single space.
I got the word.
Well, how do we show that?
Yeah, show it to me on your phone or your video camera, or change it. Put it on a flash drive.
Text it to him.
Text it too.
Take a lesson from.
I mean, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. If you don't know how to do that, talk to your kids or your grandkids about how to do a selfie.
Yeah.
Do you have a video camera?
He's got a
Do you have
flip phone.
access to a phone that
And he doesn't.
3/4 of the guys in here have a phone that they will.
I know, I have a Kodak camera that
Right.
takes video.
Okay. That's what
But then I don't know how to put it, where do I put it on?
Use Marlene's phone.
Use Marlene's phone.
She won't let me use it.
Have her videotape you doing it.
Oh, dude, I can do it right on my iPad.
There you go.
And he's
Yeah, but it makes you look fat.
I think I specifically mentioned iPad as a way to do it. All right. So, all right. Work on those. You need to know your story. You need to know it. You need to know what God's done in your life.
What was the 3 guidelines for testimony again? Before you were a Christian?
Yeah. What was your life? What did your life used to be like? Why did you become a Christian? You know, why did you start this whole thing? And how was your life different? Okay. That's your story. Testimony is just a big word for your story. Okay. It just sounds more churchy and official.
So do we have to hand these in, or do we, what do we do?
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You need to write it down or videotape it and give it to me.
Here's that in a nutshell. I was bad, I came to know the Lord, and now I've got to keep my
Why?
wife.
Why?
To keep my wife.
Do a lesson. See how easy that is? Now, have someone record it on your iPad. All right.
Extended about 45 seconds.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir.
We're still stuck on testimony.
Okay.
We're gonna write and videotape this, and you're gonna have all this blackmail material for us.
Seriously?
So are we gonna like keep this in a safe, or are we gonna?
No, it
one
goes
day
straight
get
to the
shuffled
worship
to
department
YouTube?
where I edit it for
You think the
every
people in
Sunday.
here, you think the people in here already don't know your past?
They don't know my path.
You don't have to go into the gory details. You just say, you know what, I lived a life, Bill. Here's mine, quickly, okay? I'll try and do it I'll set a timer for a minute. Because preachers can be, this preacher can be.
Do you care if it's longer than a minute?
No, I don't care, but don't make it 10. 'Cause I'm not watching after 3.
Minute and a half, we should do.
It needs to be less than 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because ultimately what you're trying to do is tell your story in a way that you could share it with somebody else, and people are going to stop listening after a couple minutes. They are. I mean, I do. Ready? Here's my story. I grew up in the church. My parents dropped me off at church every week. Until I got older, it was a town of 4,000, so I went to church because that's what you did. There weren't a lot of options. Got baptized when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. It was something that I did. I went to a Christian college because I could live in a Christian dorm. I could play basketball there because they were 6-19 the year before, and I was going to get a business degree at K-State. But I was around a bunch of people that were excited for God. They were on fire. I got all this Bible teaching and all this stuff. I said, you know what? I need to change my major and go into ministry. That's the spiritual reasons that I did it. Okay? That was the big change for me. But even then, I couldn't think of anything more boring than being a preacher. So I went into youth ministry. And so started in youth ministry. Did that for 8 years. I couldn't handle the schedule anymore. Became a senior minister, moved to Ohio, moved here 7 years later. And I've been here for 7 years.
How's it changed your life?
Perfect. How has it changed my life?
Yeah, how's your life different now?
You got to keep it.
Less self-centered. Less self-centered, more other-centered. A purpose. There's a reason for me to be here other than taking up space. I did stuff in high school. I got drunk. I went through AIDS and stuff, but not crazy stuff. So there's not a radical transformation there. More the transformation has just been my heart, my attitude, coming to a place of not being self-reliant and saying there are things that are out of my control that I have to give it up. Say, God, I don't like what's going on here, but I have no control, so I just have to trust you. So
But
that's
for you, that was good because you got into it so much, you wanted to make a difference for God out here.
right.
For that's what you're doing.
Right.
And I think that's a great transformation right there because we need more people.
And here's the deal, my transformation has happened in the church setting. I have worked secular jobs, but my transformation is working in a church setting. And my purpose now in life is to help other people grow in their faith. That's my goal in life, is to help other people mature in Christ. And you all's goal is whatever occupation you have, is you live for Christ in that occupation. So whether you're a paper cutter or a gas pumper or a truck driver, you do those things in a way of integrity. You don't cheat on your timesheets. You do it in a way that honors God. That's, in some fashion, how it fleshes out for you. Whoever you interact with, at some point, they need to know that you act in your character and in your life. They need to know that it's not just because you're a nice person, it's because of what Jesus Christ has done for you. And that's the huge difference. That's why sharing your faith is a big deal. So, and we probably will get into that some as we go a little bit further. So, cool. Questions, thoughts before we get into today's stuff?
One of the things that, I'll say in my testimony, is that becoming a Christian is good and bad. I mean, the ultimate is greatness of being eternal, but I'll leave you to muse that, like what could be bad about becoming a Christian. But there's things about it, I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
attach Satan.
You
It's tough.
Come Sunday morning. Come Sunday morning, we'll talk about some of that.
Right.
So when you're filling out the reports, 6/21, that's today. That's when the first report was due. So how'd you do over the last 7 days? Does anyone need, I know Tom was handing some of these out, did anyone misplace theirs, lose theirs, destroy theirs on purpose?
Yes, I did.
Do you need
Got
more?
mad and threw it at
It
someone?
went in the garbage with all your sermon notes.
Nice, all right.
So you hand these in, or you just keep track?
And that's for you. You know, if you have to turn it in to me before you make it official, there's a motivational issue somewhere.
Well, I don't want one of those gold stars.
Do you want to go start? Let's see what we can do for you. If that'll make the difference. All right, so today, here's papers. Take one down, pass it around, send it back. Here's stuff that we're dealing with today. It's about your worldview. We're dealing with the worldview because here's the stuff that we deal with. St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals. Who said it? Dude, seriously?
They were used to be my team.
Hey,
Dude.
quiet over
You
there.
just need to be quiet on that. St. Louis Cardinals were a baseball team.
Word?
They probably won more World Series than anyone besides the Yankees and Red Sox.
Don't make me go
Maybe the
there.
Dodgers. I'm not a baseball fan. But they were, this year, they were going to be holding a Christian Day where they're going to have a speaker. I think it was Lance Berkman, maybe. A former Cardinals player that's a Christian was going to speak. Well, the LGBTQ community wrote a letter to the Cardinals through the newspaper, you know, one of those open letters, saying we are really disappointed the Cardinals would have a Christian Day because it is so discriminating. This guy, you know, is against homosexuality and blah, 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 blah. And so they're telling the Cardinals, you need to not have this. And the Cardinals says, they replied and said, here's the deal. We've had a Christian Day here for the last 30 years, and we're not going to stop. Now, we have other days too. As a matter of fact, we have one of the days we have is a gay day. And so, because they're a business, and you know, they're trying to reach everybody and whatever. But they're saying, you know, we have a gay day, but my point is the gay, not just the gay, but there's a number of organizations out there who are trying to silence Christianity. They didn't protest Muslim Day. They didn't protest any of the other days that the Cardinals have. When you have 162 games a year, you got a lot of special days, you know? And so they didn't protest any of those. The only one that was attacked was the Christian one. And I'll tell you what, guys, I said last week that we are in a spiritual battle. We are in spiritual warfare, and it shows up in places like this. And if all you watch is TV and all you watch is the major networks, I'll tell you what, they are filled with flat-out lies. Just lies. The one I heard this week, Anderson Cooper does a thing for CNN, and Anderson Cooper was interviewing a White House journalist, and the White House journalist said, all right, here's what the Trump administration is doing. They held their White House briefing, and when they did that, they said, we're going to have a briefing, but you can have no video cameras there and no sound recording devices. And so the White House reporter said, this is unprecedented. This has never happened before. And Anderson Cooper, his reply was, what are they afraid of? What's the Trump administration trying to hide? Now, I don't care what your politics are, okay? But someone did some research. That type of a press conference with no video cameras and no audio recording, it's called a gaggle, okay? That's just what they call it. In the last administration, they had, with 3 different press secretaries, they had over 300 gaggles. Just with the press secretary. Plus the president held a number of them. This is just a common fact of life that if you're a White House press secretary, this is just a part of what it is. There are some press conferences that they hold out there that they just say, this is a special one. As a matter of fact, the last press secretary said, he said, hey, welcome to the second term for this administration and our first gaggle of the year. And he was making a joke of it because it's just, and one of the White House reporters said, can't we get more of those? But this guy, on this thing that happened just this last week, said, this is something that's never happened before. So when you see stuff on news, you have to be discerning and you need to search out all of the information. Because when you hear the story at first, you're like, oh my goodness, what's the White House trying to hide? You know? But when you get into it and go, well, this is just common practice, totally changes the story. So, on either side of the political aisle, the same thing happens. So be careful what you listen to, be careful what you believe, okay? The reason I say that is because there's just so much wrong information. And we're in a battle, and we're in a battle for truth, okay? 1 Corinthians 1, yes. This is the Apostle Paul, and here's what he's saying about us as Christians. He says the message of the cross, Jesus dying on the cross, is foolishness to those who are perishing. Isn't that true today? You say, well, I'm a Christian, I follow a guy who died on a cross, and then we say that he rose again. That's foolishness to people who are outside of the church. But to us who are being saved, it's the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligence of the intelligent I will frustrate. Where is the wise man? Where is the scholar? Where is the philosopher of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? Don't you see the things that the world promotes? That they just, after it's examined, you're like, oh my gosh, that was just stupid. Okay? For since in the wisdom of God, the world through its wisdom did not know him, God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believe. God, through the preaching of Jesus Christ, saves people. Jews demand miraculous signs, Greeks look for wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. What he's saying through that whole thing is this. There are a lot of people teaching a lot of things out there. As followers of Jesus Christ, we don't get caught up in the things that seem wise according to the world. We go back to the truth of the Scriptures. We go back to the truth. And so a worldview is what I want to talk about. A worldview basically deals with some of the fundamental questions of life. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is the purpose of life? You know, those are questions that throughout the ages people continually ask. And so there are some major worldviews in the United States of America today. It used to be predominantly just the Christian worldview. Forever, it was just the Christian worldview. You look at the history of this country, and they would, one of the first acts of Congress in 1776, one of the very first acts of Congress was to set aside money to buy Bibles to give to people. The earliest schools had a little book that taught how to read and write. And in the book, in the reading part, it had the alphabet. It had a cross. You know, A stands for Adam and Eve. You know, Adam's sin. B stands for the Bible. C stands for Cain, who sinned. You know, D stands for the devil. And throughout the entire book, that's how they taught kids to read, was using this little primer that was based on the Bible. I mean, forever in this country, Christianity has been the predominant worldview. But in the last, since the 60s, that's changed. And a whole bunch of other worldviews have really come in to this world. And I'm going to name them, I'm going to describe them a little bit. And they're these. Number one, Christianity. The world was created and sustained by God. You know, that's the Christianity we believe in. This world was created by God. Not only did he start it, but he keeps it going. Second major worldview in the United States is Islam. Islam is one of the fastest growing religions, similar to Christianity, and it believes that there's a God. It believes that there's one God. The major turning point is what you do with Jesus. Islam says that Jesus was a good teacher, that he was a prophet, but Christianity says he was God, and he was God in the flesh, that he physically died on the cross and rose from the dead. That's where we depart from Islam, the most significant place. There are a number of isms. Secular humanism. Secular humanism says that supernatural doesn't exist. All that happens in this world is the physical. They wrote the Humanist Manifesto, which just basically says humans, people, that's all there is. There's nothing outside of us. The education system is filled with secular humanism. From all the way from kindergarten through college, that is what your young people are being taught. That all there is in this world is people. There is no spiritual, there's no God. It's another word for it is liberalism. Fourth worldview is Marxism. It is another atheistic philosophy. The politically correct movement throughout the United States gets its roots from Marxism and the Communist Manifesto. Cosmic humanism is just a big word for saying the New Age movement. And the New Age movement kind of talks about the idea that everything is God. And so you see it show up, especially with a lot of times people in the entertainment industry who are out there saving all the animals and saving all the plants because they believe in their system that animals and humans are on an equal level and plants are on an equal level because they're living beings as well. So everything is God. So there you go. And then postmodernism. Postmodernism, we brought up the millennials earlier, that is the place that they've gotten to in their belief system. And basically it's just this. Whatever you believe is true for you. There is no overarching truth throughout society. It's just, if you believe that, that's great. I'm glad that you believe that. Which is funny because I saw a great video on this. A guy went to a college campus and just started asking the people there on campus, started asking them questions. And he said, what if the dude's like me, about 6'3" dude, he said, what if I said to you that I identify as a woman? And what would your reaction be? And they would say, well, if that's what you believe, then okay, then you're fine, you're a woman. Okay? And he said, okay, well, what if I said to you, I identify as Chinese? So I'm a Chinese woman. I mean, because he looks like me, all right? And just a Caucasian white dude. And they're like, well, they're starting to struggle. Well, okay, sure, if that's what you want to believe. And he goes, okay, what if I said to you that I identify as a woman, I identify as Chinese, but I also identify that I'm 5'6" tall. And because of their worldview, they can't tell him no. They can't tell him no. They don't have an objective measurement. And it's not their fault, because that's how they've been raised. Their whole educational system, there's no objective truth. They're the generation that got brought up, their teachers don't mark their papers wrong. They don't use red ink because it might be offensive. And now the results of all that are coming in. And so major worldviews are these. These are the things that are opposed to Christianity. And when I say them in those ways, then it makes you go, okay, wow. Well, here's the deal. Secular humanism, liberalism, Marxism, which is the politically correct movement, the cosmic humanism, everything is equal, and the postmodernism, all four of those deny that there is a God. They are atheistic in their philosophies. They specifically state in the things they put out there, there is no God. And so if you have kids or grandkids that are being raised in these systems, what do you think they're going to believe? And so as followers of Jesus Christ, we need to understand where these things are coming from. As followers of Jesus Christ, we need to see that Christianity is not relegated to this building. We need to see that Christianity is a way to view the entire world and every part of it.
Amen.
Okay? We think that it has to do with our religion and making us good people. But it's much more expansive than that. It needs to hit every part of our lives. Your worldview, the way that you look at the world, it has to affect everything in your life. Such as, it needs to, and all this happens in the book of Genesis. It needs to affect your theology. Your Christianity should affect your theology, your belief and your study of God. In Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God. In the very first statement of the Bible, it acknowledges that there is a God. There is someone that is bigger than all of us. And then the rest of the Bible kind of tells us who he is and how he acts and what he expects from us. It needs to affect your philosophy. In the beginning, God, he created the heavens and the earth. So right there we find something out about this God that we worship, that he's a creator. He makes things. And we're in his image, and so we make things. Our Christianity should affect our ethics. When Adam and Eve were put in the garden, there was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they weren't supposed to eat from that. But just the idea that there's a knowledge of good and evil. Do you see how that's a contrast to some of the belief systems that are there today? In the society today, whatever you want to do, you can do. Yeah. Evil is good and good is evil. Yeah, exactly. Because we've gotten away from the Christian ethics. The ethics today are really hard to substantiate. It's really hard to have a basis for any ethics because there's no foundation for it. If you believe that what's true for you, well, what if I believe that stealing is not that big a deal? And I'll just go steal something. But you can't tell me I can't do that. You see how that affects everything? As Christians, we believe that there's a right and wrong, and because of that right and wrong, it affects our behavior. It affects biology. Remember how God made creation, male and female? I mean, that foundation is under attack today with the transgender movement. I mean, that's a direct confrontation to God. Biology was also, God made everything according to its kind. Long before Darwin showed up, long before the guy that put the system of classifying animals, long before those guys were around, God made animals according to their kind. And the limits on those kinds were how they could reproduce. I don't know if you ever thought about this, but a horse and a donkey can get together. And they can have a kid. And it's called a mule. But mules can't reproduce. Even two animals that are that similar, horses and donkeys, can't produce generations of offspring according to its kind. God said there's going to be a huge diversity of animals, but they're going to be limited in how far they can go. Do you see how that is in direct contrast to evolution? Because evolution says that we all go back to a common ancestor. And from that one common ancestor, monkeys became people. And we all came from fish and however, I don't remember how the tree goes. But you see how Darwinism, evolution is in a direct contrast to what the Bible says? But you go to any school, anywhere. I grew up in a school in the Midwest in a small rural town. And they were just making the transition to talking about evolution. And so they were talking about both. In my high school, they talked about both. They said, okay, here's the evolution theory, and the other theory, they didn't give much time, the other theory is creation. And they didn't really name God, but they just said, something happened and someone made all this stuff. But that doesn't happen in schools today. The only place they're going to get it is from you. Your worldview has to affect psychology. Remember, God breathed life into Adam and made a living being. And so as Christians, we believe that we have an eternal soul. That when we die, this physical body, that's not who we are. Thank God. We get a new body. Our eternal soul is what gets resurrected. We get a new body from that. But all the major psychologists, the basis, the founders of modern psychology, like Freud and all those guys, they are atheists. And they don't believe in an eternal soul. And so when it comes time to diagnose problems, there's no spiritual right and wrong. They don't have that basis. Sociology, how a society works. God told Adam and Eve, you two get together in marriage, man and woman, become your own family unit, go forth and multiply. That's sociology. Do you see how our society today is directly attacking that? Now, divorce in this country is crazy easy. And now families of mom and mom families and dad families, see how that's a direct attack on the way God set things up? The law. God said to Adam and Eve, I commanded you to do this thing. Our law in this country is based on, in big part, the Bible, God's laws. You look at the Ten Commandments, and God said, if you all are going to get along, there's some certain things that you need to do, certain ways you need to behave. And if you take God and His Word out of the law, what do you got? You've got, if you don't have the Bible as a basis of the law, who decides what the laws are? And you see that in our politics today. You see that people are making laws based on public opinion. Whatever the public wants to do, the lawmakers say, all right, well, that sounds good. I want to keep my position in office, so we'll go ahead. We don't care what the consequences are, but at least people will be happy they won't vote us out. When you take God's law out of it, then it just becomes majority rule. If you've ever seen a mob of people, majority rule is not pretty. It's really not. Economics. The whole way that you deal with money, the whole way that things are purchased, the whole way that you make money and spend money, there's a basis for that biblically. And God's Word is all about you need to be self-sufficient. You need to be someone who makes money for you and your family. God's Word also allows in there the idea that you're also generous to other people. Back in the Old Testament times, if you were a landowner, you would go out there and you would plow the field. You would buy the field. You would dig it up. You would plant. You would water and fertilize. And at the end, you would harvest. And so you did all this work, and so at the end, whatever you worked for, you got to keep. And so God said, that's great. That's a great way to do it. But what I want you to do is when you harvest, and you're taking care of this field, see that little section over there, the corners of your field? Just let that go. And when you go through and harvest and you're putting stuff in your basket or whatever, and you drop some on the ground, let that go. That way the poor people in your community, they can come, they didn't have to buy the field, they didn't have to buy the seed, they didn't have to work for it, but now when it comes time, they've got some food. They have some way to sustain themselves. But they need to go and get it. They need to go pick that stuff up. And so God, and that's just one law. God in His law said, you know what, if we are responsible to take care of ourselves and our families, we need to make sure that there's provisions for those who can't do that stuff on their own. But even then, in the New Testament, Paul said if a man doesn't work, he's not going to eat. And so the Bible is full of economic stuff. And then in history, if you remember that when Adam and Eve sinned, and God was dealing out the punishments, God said to Eve and to Satan, here's the deal, I'm going to bring a Savior to the world through a woman, but there's going to be enmity between Satan and man, between Jesus. And throughout history, we see that happened. Satan kept trying to defeat God, and God kept winning. And God is saying, okay, here's what's going to happen in the future. And when you look at history as God's story, His story, you see the way that God has worked throughout the world, and you see it also as the way that Satan has tried to stop God's plan. Then history takes on meaning. Here's the problem with history in high school. They give you a list of dates and a list of names of people you don't care about. Who cares about any of these people? That has no meaning to me. When you find out the why of history, when you find out that throughout history, different groups of people have tried to wipe out the Jews because they're God's chosen people, and every time that happens and it's getting ready to wipe them out, and then God miraculously saves them, and that didn't happen just in Bible times, it's happened as recently as the 40s and the 60s in the nation of Israel today, that the nation of Israel becomes a nation, and the next day, all these nations attack it, and it survives. That doesn't make any sense. In 1967, in the Six-Day War, you got Egypt and these other countries that come up against Israel, and Israel was in a defensive stance and gained land. That doesn't make any sense. Unless it's the same God that was helping the Israelites back then is helping them today. Then history takes on purpose and meaning, and it's like, dude, I'm going to check out this story. First time I heard about the 6 Days War, I heard some preacher saying it, I'm like, what? I went and looked at that and saw the details of that battle. I'm like, dang, that is cool. Because you see the meaning and the purpose behind it. A worldview says, and all these 6 worldviews I have that we're talking about, all of them say theology, philosophy, ethics, biology, they all have something where they define those things. As Christians, we have to see that our Christianity is much bigger than this room. It affects every area of life. Because we follow the God who made everything. And if we follow the God who made everything, He probably knows what He's doing in all these areas. But there's a huge battle in our society today. It's us against the world. And here's the deal, guys. Here's what it comes down to. Your kids and your grandkids are not going to get this information about God from anywhere in their schools. As a matter of fact, the schools, the entertainment industry, are openly hostile toward the things of God. And so in the Bible, when David became king, there were different tribes, the 12 tribes, and all the different tribes, they sent men to David and said, hey, we're going to support you as a king. There was a group in 1 Chronicles 12, the men of Issachar. The men of Issachar, here's what it said about them. They are men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. There are 200 of these guys that went to David and said, we understand what's happening in the world around us and what we need to do as a nation to follow God. That's what we're trying to do with this group of guys. Is we want you to have your eyes open to see this is exactly the war that's happening. This is what I need to do. I need to understand what's happening and know how to lead my family, my grandkids, my co-workers. I need to be able to lead them and say, when someone talks about one of these philosophies that's anti-Christian, not and-Christianity, it's anti-Christian, when they talk about some of these things, I need to have a response. And so my challenge for you today is one of these topics, whichever one sounds cool to you, either on one of the worldviews or one of these biology, psychology, sociology. You can, this week, you just look, you go and research what influence has Christianity had in one of those areas. That'd be a great thing to look up on the internet somewhere. But the impact of Christianity in this world throughout history is amazing. There's actually a couple of books about that. What Christianity has done for the world. Some really cool stuff. So this is just a challenge above and beyond whatever the boot camp reports are. This is just to say, hey, man, check one of these things out. See what Christianity's done in this. The law in this country, if you go to the Supreme Court today, which is hilarious, if it wasn't so sad. If you go to the Supreme Court today, they have made rulings where they've said the Ten Commandments are not to be posted in public places in government-owned facilities, schools, courthouses, stuff like that. But when you go to the Supreme Court, the Ten Commandments are on the wall in the Supreme Court, in the building. The Ten Commandments are on the wall. The irony of that is just amazing. We need to understand what's going on, the battles that are happening, and we need to have some type of an answer. Now, you may not be able to find an answer for everything, but pick something here. Pick something and say, you know what? I want to learn about this and what Christianity believes about this versus the other worldviews. I've got a few books, and I don't think you want to read the whole thing or anything like that, but here's a great one. Understanding the Times. It takes those 10, ethics, biology, psychology, it takes every one of those, and it tells you what each one of the worldviews says about the law. It tells you what each of the 6 worldviews says about economics, where they get their beliefs and what they believe. This is a huge textbook. I don't know if everyone wants to read that, but if someone wants to look through this, you can. It's incredible. I gave you a couple of other resources. The biology stuff, I always find fascinating. I think one of the, if you want to have a conversation with people and you want to direct it toward God eventually, I think that one of the greatest places you can do is start with dinosaurs.
Yep.
I'm totally serious about that. Because when you start talking about dinosaurs, oh my gosh, when I said dinosaurs, like 10 heads popped up. And I was like, dinosaurs. The U-Haul truck that we used on Saturday had a dinosaur on the side. Dinosaurs were in Arizona, they found fossils. When you talk about dinosaurs, people pay attention. There's a reason Jurassic Park movies were cool. Okay? So go to answersingenesis.org and read about, in the Bible, where do dinosaurs come into play? And what does the Bible teach about fossils? And what does the Bible teach about dinosaurs and Noah's Ark? And what does the Bible teach about dinosaurs and modern human beings? Do you know here in Arizona, in the late 1800s, there's a really good chance that a couple cowboys shot a pterodactyl? Look that up on the internet. I can't remember where it was. It may have been Tombstone, but I can't. But it was here in Arizona. There are stories. When you read the stories and look at what a pterodactyl is, there's a really good chance that there were some pterodactyls flying as late as the 1800s. I'm not going to, man, I could talk about that forever. Answers in Genesis should be on the bottom of your paper and resources. It's a great conversation starter. And you want to share your faith, start talking about that. All right. Man, I've preached for way too long. Here's a summary. If some of you want, here's a chart that has the worldviews and then these different areas of life that it affects. I'll leave these up here if you want to grab one of those. Any questions, any thoughts, any comments about worldview? I'm telling you guys, this isn't easy. And I know it's a lot of information, but I'm here to try and help.
Been reading a lot of history for the past 10 years or so that's a lot of stuff we're talking about because of the way government started through, Judeo-Christian theology. And it was changing it started from the beginning and fighting it, but case laws, and that's how I need these minutes, is now they use case law to do away with,
Well, beyond just the case laws.
But that's how they do away with
the history.
Well, the history, but I keep thinking the Ten Commandments are right, our Bill of Rights, right? So they're pushing that aside, which we need to stick with, because it was based on Christian values.
Right.
And so just like thing with the dinosaurs, I saw the movie just recently, it's on Netflix, if everybody sees it, is Genesis history. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So this stuff and how and these are these are scientists,
Right.
not theology, they're actually theology also, they teach these things, but actual scientists who you can say, there's a scientist that says something different, which they say, no, there isn't. And then I picked up a book, and that was actually fun and interesting to listen to, but I picked up a book with Darwin, Darwin's Doubts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little dry and hard to follow, but oh my gosh, all the doubts and all the people who said against him, but we don't, but all the scientists in the world ignores it because that's what they want to tell you, and forget all the stuff against it.
Right.
So everything's out there. The history, knowledge is it's in books. You can read it. You go look for it. But if you don't want to, you can be dumb and believe bullcrap.
Right. Well, one of the best books about evolution, from a Christian perspective, it's called Icons. I-C-O-N-S. Icons of Evolution. Because when you say to someone, do you believe evolution is true? Oh, sure I do, absolutely. Why do you believe it's true? Well, because of the peppered moths. You know, the way that they are on trees, and if there's a black tree and there's black moths, they hide. But white moths, they get eaten up. And so only the black moths are left. That whole thing was a staged thing. The dude that did that falsified his stuff. And so one of those, and so this dude takes on all the Miller-Urey life in a tube. You remember, there's this picture in some of your high school textbooks of this set of tubes and flasks and everything, and they created life.
Every single minute, 24 people around the world hear their own
So the
the
Miller-Urey experiment said, hey, we produce life in a test tube. Well, no, they didn't. And this guy takes on all those things. If people say, I believe in evolution because of this, 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 and this, the top 6 or 8 things, and he deals with every single one of them. And it's beautiful, and it's so easy to understand. Icons of Evolution. You can get it used on Amazon for probably $10 and delivered to your door in 2 days, because we live in Gates.
Or less.
I've ordered books on Amazon
And got them that day.
and got them that night. And so I'm a huge believer in used books, and that's one that's easy to read. Oh, if you're into that, because it's just so enlightening. You just go, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like this. The picture of an ape, a little bit more than an ape, and a man-ish, and then a man. He deals with that picture because you know what? That's an artist's picture. It's not a line of fossils that we've ever found anywhere. It's some dude drew it. It's not a fact. And so, challenge research some of that stuff, because we have to be the guys that are going to stand up and say, the rest of this world may believe this junk, but me and my family, we're not, because I'm going to teach them something different.
I think the best book was when you went to the Case for Christ, so I got that.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew me away, because I always believe, and you read stuff, it's understanding, and it's, most of it is pretty much could be like, okay, that's easy to believe.
Yeah.
But obviously, too, there's always doubt, but God says doubt strongly, but also pray for it, right? So it's fine. But that's what was interesting about putting that together, and it's actually an easy read, entertaining, and really well-written story of an atheist who was wholeheartedly against and could not find anything, and that kept finding forward. And so I watched the movie, and it wasn't very good, but it was great to see the movie before the books, if you guys see the movie, because it kind of, to me, got me the idea about the man, and then I read the book, what he was trying to do, and so it really knocks it off your feet, knocks what's going on, and it really brings everything together. It's so powerful and strong, but how can you doubt? And I always, even before I read the book, I was like, how does the world, turn molecule? They say one thing out of place will be gone, it's ruined. So God has to have that hand, it's not by accident. So even when he says more faith, I believe in that before, hit that more faith being atheist, believe in creationism instead of, whatever, it's like, all this stuff is crazy.
That's all. Okay. All right, let's pray. God, thank you. Thank you for these men who came last week, who came this week, and are willing to come and learn. And God, I pray that they will take up the challenge. I pray that they will seek after your truth in every area of life and see that you're not relegated to religion, but that you're God of every part of our lives. And we can understand that, and we can live that out. God, open our hearts and minds so that we can share with others. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.